Welcome to the Circle Academy. You're watching a presentation on the value hill. If you look at the circular economy, then value is a very important principle. So in this presentation we're going to explain how the linear economy is working, and then we look at the alternative of the circular economy. So this slide is on the linear economy. So this is how we currently work, or most companies work. So if you look at it, we start with sourcing. So we get materials out of the planet, and we don't do that very kindly often. And then we come to the next step of production. And in production we put a lot of energy and labor to those materials, and we make a product out of it. Then we come to the next phase of retail, and there are some logistics and some sales processes to it. And then all the added value is added to the product, and we come to the magic moment of sales in the linear economy. The product is sold to a user, and the responsibility is handed over to that user, and the revenues are then streaming in for the manufacturer. This is a little bit exaggerated, but this is how the linear economy works. But at the same time that the user starts using the product, the value of the product will go down. So in Holland we often laugh about the people in Germany that go for a BMW, and they can then collect their BMW at headquarters in Stuttgart. And at the moment that they have driven down from the top roof where they collect their car to the downside, they already have reduced the value by about 10 to 20%. So that is when you start using a product. But then after using the product, you see an enormous value destruction. And when the product is then brought to incineration or to landfill, all the materials, all the energy and all the labor that were then put into the product are lost. So this is the linear economy, and in the circular economy we are looking for alternative for this value destruction. And how could that look? Well, there are three things we can look at. So first is on the material selection and the material efficiency. So how are you going to use the materials? What kind of materials are you going to use? Is it, for instance, recycled material, or are you going to optimize for recycling? So that is where the design strategies come into account. But far more important is on closing the loops. So how can we extend the product lifetime? And the first one is on extending the usage of the product. So you can achieve that by repairing and maintaining the product so that the user can use the product for a longer period of time. But at a certain moment of time the user will then buy an alternative or does not need the product anymore. And then the next question is, can you reuse or redistribute the product to a user that is still willing to use that product? So you take the product and you sell it to another user. An alternative is that you need to refurbish or to remanufacture a product. And what you see is that the value is coming down on the right hand side of the value hill, but it's not going down all the way as when you bring it to landfill or to incineration. So for refurbishment and remanufacture, you get back the telephone, you have a little industrial process to refurbish or remanufacture it, you bring it to retail, and then it's sold again. So the cycle is much shorter than with a new product. And then we have recycling. So if you look at recycling, many countries are working on recycling, and many companies are already very proud that they recycle their materials. But if you look at it, you see that the value has come down rapidly and is at a very low level. It's higher than for incineration or for a landfill, so it's good. It is circular, but you have to bring it to the left side of the value hill, and then again a lot of energy and labor has to put to the product, and a lot of steps in the value chain in order to make a fully functional product out of it. So this is the principle of value and the value hill. It's an important starting point for the circular economy. How can I prevent from value loss? And this is from an environmental point of view, but we can also look at it from a business or economic point of view, and we will do that on the next slide. Looking at this, you see the example of, for instance, the mobile telephone. So if you produce a mobile telephone, you add value up to about 600 euros. That is at the magic moment of sales. So the mobile phone is then sold to a user. In Holland, the mobile phone on average is used for 18 months. And what is happening to that phone after those 18 months? Most of the time the mobile phone is going into a drawer. So all the value that is in that phone is not used again. We have recycling systems. So what happens when you recycle the telephone? It goes to a recycling company, it gets out the silver and the gold and the copper, and the value of the telephone is 72 cents. It's good from an environmental point of view, but from a business point of view, if you make 10% margin, wow, then you have earned 7 cents. So there is not that much business potential there. If you look at reusing the telephone, you can see that you can earn about 290 euros when you sell a mobile phone again after 18 months of usage. And then when you make a 10% margin, wow, you have 30 euros, you can make an investment in marketing, you can make an investment in logistics, and there can be a serious business case for that. So if you look at value, you can look at the environmental way of using the materials and the energy again, but also on the business perspective. So if you have reuse, you have much more value that you can use for your new business model. Take this as a starting point when you participate in the Circo track or in the Circo class, and look how the business models and the design strategies can help you to come with a proposition that is as high as possible on the value hill. Thank you very much.